There's somebody right now in your life or that you will run into in the next 24 hours who just a little bit of encouragement from you could completely change the trajectory of their day and potentially their life. When you encourage, you literally are infusing courage into somebody, and believe it or not, yourself. What you really requires is courage. You have to have the courage to encourage. When you encourage somebody about something specific about them that they intuitively know to be true, you have made a connection with them that maybe less than 5 people in their life has. Encouraged people become encouragers themselves. It's almost like lighting candles from one flame. You're actually creating a ripple effect in the world. You're actually changing the world, one person at a time. Be an encourager. The world has plenty of critics already. Encouragers are listeners first. Notice what's going on in other people's lives and then speak into it. Empathy is the seedbed of meaningful encouragement. A word of encouragement during a failure is worth more than an hour of praise after success. Measure yourself right now as a friend, as a husband, as a wife, as a father, as a mother, as a leader in business. How good are you at transferring belief regularly, consistently, specifically, authentically? Self-efficacy is like holding a flashlight at the bottom of a tall ladder for someone else. You can't see the top, and fear or doubt sets in. Now imagine someone standing beside you saying, "I've seen you climb before. You're stronger than you think. I've got the light held here. Just take the first step." Suddenly the climb isn't so impossible, and it feels worth trying. Encouragement doesn't build the ladder for you, but it helps you aim your flashlight higher. And that changes everything. Advantage Gold is giving away a free copy of Rogoff's book to anyone who schedules a one-on-one precious metals appointment. You'll discover why gold is becoming the #1 hedge against a global currency shift and how to move your IRA or 401k into physical gold. Tax and penalty free. Get your free copy today while supplies last. Text WIN to 85545. That's WIN 85545, or go to advantagegold.com. Data and message rates apply. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Very excited about this week's topic. I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to want to share today's episode. I want to talk to you today about becoming an encourager. And, this is not something really ever discussed in leadership or personal development and self-help. And quite frankly, I don't have a lot of talents or skills, but many, many years ago, I made an intentional decision to become an encourager of people. You do that, you're 1 in a million in the world, because most people aren't encouraging, or if they are, they're not conscious about it in any way, shape, or form. So I want you to really lean in this week, because I'm going to throw so much at you. You know how we do the podcast here. This is like a course every single week. And so I want you to think about this. Do you want to be unique, and do you want to stand out in the world and really make a difference in your private or business life? If you do, if you could start to just become intentional about being an encouraging person. And by the way, to me, what encouraging means is to infuse courage into another person. When we discourage, we remove courage from somebody. Most people live in the middle. They're neither. They're not overly discouraging, but they're not over the top in their encouragement of people. And the main reason most people aren't encouraging of others is they don't believe they have enough value to encourage somebody. They think, well, why would anybody care what I think? And you would be blown away how much there are human beings right now. There's somebody right now in your life or that you will run into in the next 24 hours who just a little bit of encouragement from you could completely change the trajectory of their day and potentially their life. And you may be the only person that comes into their life for years who even breathes one word of encouragement into them. And I'm going to talk about all the things that change in you when you become somebody who looks to encourage. So the first thing is you've got to become intentional. I'm going to begin to encourage people. I'm going to give you the distinctions between flattery and encouragement and compliments and encouragement. Those are different things. But if you wanted to know if I have a private superpower in my life, it's my ability to connect with people. If you've watched my interviews, you'll notice I encourage them as we're progressing through the podcast. It's not even a strategy anymore. It's just a part of who I am. It's who I want to be, that when I get to heaven someday, I want there to be thousands, if not millions of people that I've encouraged. I hope this podcast does. If you count the podcast, then we've got, maybe 100 million people who I've had the blessing of encouraging. So let's just think about this. Number one, There is enough discouraging people in the world and enough discouragement, which, by the way, is to remove courage from somebody, that we don't need any more of those. When you encourage, you literally are infusing courage into somebody. And believe it or not, yourself. Let me say that to you again. When you encourage others, you have elevated yourself. You've elevated your own vibrational frequency. You are acting more Christ-like when you encourage, and you are elevating your own self-esteem. You want to have a hack to increasing your own self-esteem, your own self-confidence? Simply encourage other people. See how you feel. Not just the first time or the third time, but the 33rd time. When you begin to be a human who operates in the world as someone who looks for places and situations to encourage others, watch what happens to the way the world begins to respond to you and how you feel about yourself. George Adams said, encouragement is oxygen to the soul. Your soul, as the encourager, gets that oxygen, as does the recipient. So, number 2, what's the difference between encouragement versus flattery? True encouragement, listen, is specific, it's honest, and it's focused typically on effort or character, not just results or appearance. See, most people, they think, well, I'm encouraging. Hey, you're awesome. You're amazing. That's not specific. That's a compliment. That's flattery. That doesn't hit with most people, okay? If you only exercise a positive message to somebody when they perform, that's flattery. That is not encouragement. Encouragement is not focused on the consequence or the result ever. It's focused on the effort or the character of the person. And let me say something to you. When you encourage somebody about something specific about them that they intuitively know to be true, you have made a connection with them that maybe less than 5 people in their life has. What I mean by specific is things like, hey, brother, I just want to tell you, I admire you so much for how deeply you love your family and how willing you are to sacrifice for them. Specifically, this situation I saw you in. Now, that person, if they say intuitively, I do love my family, I will sacrifice for them, it multiplies it by a factor over 100 in my mind. When you tell somebody something they hope to be true, have a hallucination that's true about themselves, maybe a glimpse into, and then you say, yep, it's true. You've connected with them. As a leader, you have connected with them in a way that no leader probably ever has. As a parent, as a friend, as a stranger, when you say, I see this in you, and they go, you know, I kind of have always seen this in myself as well, but no one's pointed it out. Now you're connecting with them in a very unique and authentic way that almost nobody ever has in their life. I really want to challenge you to be specific with your encouragement, which means you need to take the time to truly be present with someone and read them and perceive them. Number 3 is you have to have the courage to encourage. Actually, my opinion about it is that if you're a believer, that you're actually seeing Christ in them. That most people intuitively kind of have a hunch that they've got 2 or 3 things about them that are special, but the world never notices it. Nobody ever acknowledges it. I mean, if you're a singer, if you're Beyonce, clearly your gift is very noticeable. Or if you can dunk like LeBron James, right? Or hit a baseball like Aaron Judge, those skills are very easy to see. Or someone's got incredible intellect and they get straight A's all the time. But for the vast majority of us, our talents, our giftedness, our Christ in us isn't noticed by most people. And it's never pointed out to us. And we never feel great about ourselves. And the other thing that happens is because we operate in the world this way and we don't encourage other people, we don't feel great about ourselves. And so what really, number 3 is this. What you really requires is courage. You have to have the courage to encourage. You have to have the courage to do it because it's a little bit awkward at first. It's a little bit, and it's not appearance, right? It's not that, oh, you look beautiful today. That's not encouragement. That's flattery. So the most meaningful, courageous act you'll ever engage in is to encourage others. Words of affirmation and confirmation given to people has the potential to change the world. One encouragement at a time. When encouraging, be deliberate and be intentional. Be descriptive and be specific. Declarative. This is almost like speaking prophecy to somebody. Display. When possible, say it in front of their partner, their peers, parents, or children. My friend Phil Muncie was messaging me about this, and he's 100% right. And then if you can take your encouragement to a completely different place, watch this. Talk great about people behind their back. Let it get back to them. You want to multiply encouragement? The best thing you've ever heard, isn't it? You should have heard so-and-so talking about you. Man, Joe loves you. Here's what he told me about you. So not only being encouraging to someone's face, you want to multiply it? Be encouraging about people behind their back. There's enough of this gossip, right, in the world. This is like reverse gossip. The impact is amazingly powerful, and they will find out eventually. What if you just became that person? You're encouraging about people when you're in their presence, right? You look, you're specific, you're declarative, you're descriptive. And at the same time, when they're not around, when you're with other people, you're the one person who's constantly encouraging people who aren't even present. You just become a very unique and special human being like this. If there's any part of you right now thinks, there's nothing special about me, I just gave you the thing that now immediately makes you special. 1 in several million humans is encouraging to people, and especially encouraging behind their back when no one's around, when they're not around. And it does get back to them, and it does multiply it. You want the double whammy? Tell me to my face something encouraging. Tell a bunch of other people the same thing about me when I'm not there, and let it get back to me. The bottom line, the giving of encouragement has a reward. Remember this: flattery expects, encouragement respects. Proverbs 18:21 talks about the power of words. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Words can heal or harm. Choose to speak life into others. Why do I know this? In all honesty, when I was a younger person, I used my gift to communicate, I think, to do more harm than good. I was harsh. I was critical of people. I refrained from giving praise very often. You had to really earn it with me. And there's some power to that, but I think my words harmed more than healed. And when I made that shift to becoming an encourager of people, the biggest change was in me. The biggest change was the way the rest of the world responded to me. I'm pretty sure I could attribute maybe 95% of the wealth I have to a date after I became an encourager of people. Isn't that interesting? So I want my words to heal people. And you go, well, Ed, that's great, But most of us are just neutral. So be better than neutral, or you're going to have a neutral life. Be better than average, or you're going to have an average life. There's very few things that you can control. There's your attitude and your activity, and then there's this: your overall outlook and the way that you interact with humans. And again, I know a lot of you are like, Ed, no one cares what I think. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It matters what you think. Okay. Number 5, be present and pay attention. Encouragers are listeners first. Notice what's going on in other people's lives and then speak into it. Empathy is the seedbed of meaningful encouragement. Number 6, encourage effort, not just outcome. Celebrate the process. Give them courage to start, perseverance, and growth, not just the win. So I love to encourage people who are just in process. I love to encourage people who are just starting. I love to encourage people who are just persevering and their growth. A lot of times, you started a business, you're not making any money. Or right now I've lost, I think it's 28 pounds in a very short window of time. But I don't know that I really look that much different. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit leaner, but the fact of the matter is there's a part of me that's growing. And it's not the physical part. It's the mental and emotional part that says, man, I am only putting into my body the food that I said I would. I am training when I don't feel like it. I am doing all the things I said I was going to do. And so although maybe all the external results aren't there yet, the growth is happening. And it's been really cool to have friends of mine encourage me. Hey, man, this is great. And it's not you look great. That's a compliment. That's flattery. It's, hey, I'm proud of you, brother. I know how bad that back's hurting of yours, and you're overcoming that pain and you're getting in there and knocking it out anyway. That's what impresses me about what you're doing. That's a description of encouragement versus flattery. Flattery is, oh, you look great. Okay, go deeper. So if you run an e-commerce business, you know this. Packages don't just arrive like magic. Although if you use ShipStation, you'd swear it probably did. Last year alone, over 7 million people, including me, switched to ShipStation and had their orders fulfilled with them. With ShipStation, you can sync orders from everywhere you sell into one dashboard. That's why I switched, by the way. And you can replace all these manual tasks with custom automations to reduce shipping errors and big time a fraction of the cost. For us, it saved us, we think, about 70% on our shipping and fulfillment of all of our orders. It's the fastest, most affordable way to ship products to your customers with discounts with major global retailers. By the way, 130,000 companies have grown their e-commerce business with ShipStation. You should as well. During the time of this spot, another 1,400 packages were shipped with the help of ShipStation. $1,400. Upgrade to a smoother shipping experience. Go to shipstation.com/Mylett to sign up for your free trial. No credit card or contact information required. You can cancel anytime. Shipstation.com/Mylett. Number 7, model encouragement consistently. Be the kind of person that others can count on for really honest support, not just occasional praise. I have a friend this week, John Gordon, who's got a big event happening in town, and I may or may not be able to get there. It's in a few days. Yesterday, I just picked the phone up and messaged him. Hey, brother, I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm so proud of you for putting this event on. I know how hard it is. I'm sure today's a stressful day, and I just want you to know it's going to go incredible. And only you could pull this event off, I told him. But I said, more than that, brother. I'm just proud of the man you are, that because you're such a great man, all these people want to be at this event, the speakers, to support you. And I could tell you that I regularly do that with my friends. It's not just occasional praise. Hey, I heard you had a great meeting. Whatever. Happy Father's Day. Happy birthday. That's occasional praise on the 80 other messages they got that day. Stand out. Model it consistently. Think about this. What if you just tactically, strategically, intentionally just said, okay, I heard Mylett's podcast today. I like it. I'm going to start just intentionally being better at this. Okay? By the way, at the end, I'm going to encourage you. Just pick one person when this is over and encourage them. Text, phone call, email, you name it. Walk over to them if they're near you. Number 8, encourage multiplies. Encourage people become encouragers themselves. It's almost like lighting candles from one flame. One flame lights the next, the next. You're actually creating a ripple effect in the world. You're actually changing the world, one person at a time. The ripple effect in our life is something most of us never calculate on anything that we do. We don't think about the ripple effect of any of the good things we do. We just think about the one person we've helped. There's a ripple effect. When you encourage people, they become more encouraging of other people. Here's a couple quotes about encouragement. This one's unknown, but I love it. A word of encouragement during a failure is worth more than an hour of praise after success. So many people right now are in a stage of their life where they need you. They're struggling. They're hurting. It's not going the way they want. And most people are waiting around until they succeed to praise them. But very few people intervene and go, I want to encourage you right now. You're making a great effort. It matters. I'm proud of you. You're overcoming. You're building resiliency. You're learning. You're growing. It may not be showing up, but I see it. I just want you to know I see your growth. I have a driver that drives me at a particular event that I speak at very regularly. And he was driving me a couple weekends ago. And he's a fan of mine in the beginning, but we've become friends. And he said, Ed, I just got to tell you, I'm so proud of you. And I said, why? He goes, I just seen you grow in your faith so much. I've seen it, you probably don't see it because it's in your life. I've seen you're just a little gentler, a little slower, a little kinder, you always were, Ed, but it's a different level now. And I just want you to know, brother, I see it in you and I'm very proud of you. Now you would think, well, he's my driver. He was my fan. And why would that matter? It mattered deeply because he had no incentive in doing it. There's no above and below in life. There's just people. And when you begin to think of yourself as below or above, you're delusional. This was a man who I have admiration for reasons far beyond that he drives well. He's actually somebody who's prayed for me. He's encouraged me to read more scripture. We're actually both reading the Bible cover to cover this year together. We decided it. He's a friend. And I think one of the reasons we bonded as friends is I started early in our relationship encouraging him. And you know what that made him? It changed him into an encourager. All the way back full circle to where now he encourages me. And I'm mentioning it of all the encouragement I've received in the last month on my show to several million people. It meant that much to me. So yeah, there's no below or above in life. We're just humans. And a word of encouragement goes a long way. Number 10, what encouragement is and what it isn't. It's not flattery, as I said, or empty praise. It's truthful, specific, and life-giving. Life-giving. You're breathing life into somebody. Encourage effort, as I've said, growth, and all of that. This quote by Dave Willis just keeps standing out to me. Be an encourager. The world has plenty of critics already. Man, I got to tell you something. More than any time in human history, I believe there are critics. I believe it's our culture to criticize, to tear down. There's a whole industry out there of making fun of people online. These people build nothing. All they do is tear others down. The best news that spreads around the world is bad news. More than ever, you could stand out if you were an encourager. There are critics everywhere. They're a dime a dozen. They're losers. They're losers. You remember the cool guy in high school that was always kind of a funny dude who made fun of everybody? You know that guy? He still works at a liquor store in your hometown, doesn't he? Because people who pull people down, it's really funny in the moment, and they go nowhere in their life. People who are neutral typically stay neutral in their lives. People who elevate who they are as a being and encourage other people, they go to the top. They go to the top. I want you to go to the top. So here's an example of how to do it. Instead of saying, you're amazing, say, I admire how you keep showing up even when things got hard. Okay? When you encourage someone, you equip them to encourage others. This creates a culture where people thrive, not just survive. If you're building a company, if you're a leader, become an encourager of people and not performance, effort, and character. Now you created a culture in your company where encouragement takes place. You've elevated the vibrational frequency, the performance of your company like that. And if you do it consistently over time, as I said earlier, here we go. You're now building a great company. I love spiritual and biblical truths that tie in. Theologians 5:11, listen to this. Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up. It's right there. So be specific. By the way, take all the scripture stuff aside and let's say, what does science tell us? Well, let's figure this out. Let's take a look. Verbal encouragement enhances physical performance, it turns out. A study published in the Journal of Sports Science has examined the effects of verbal encouragement frequency during maximal exercise. So it measured the frequency of encouragement during maximum effort exercise. They tested it. Participants who received verbal communication every 20 to 60 seconds showed significant performance in VO2 max, exercise time, and perceived exertion compared to those who received no encouragement or encouragement every 180 seconds. This suggests that frequent verbal encouragement can lead to greater maximum effort during physical tasks. If that's true physically, we definitely know it's true mentally. You imagine that? This is tangible, scientific, VO2 max, performance. The outlook on the performance as well. Weights lifted, times recorded, cardio extension, etc. All measured, all goes up when there's verbal encouragement every 30 to 60 seconds compared to none or infrequently every 180 seconds. So if you're not a scripture person and you're a science person, you need to be an encourager. Leo Biscaglia said, too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, all of which has the potential to turn a life around. To turn a life around. Number 2, you want some more science stuff? Here we go. Peer encouragement boosts self-efficacy and performance in children. Research involving children performing endurance tasks found that those who received peer encouragement reported higher relation-inferred self-efficacy and demonstrated improved physical performance compared to those who did not receive encouragement. This highlights the role of social interactions in enhancing self-belief and task performance. We'll talk about self-efficacy a little bit, but this is basically your ability to lead yourself. Number 3, check this out. Study again. Newcastle University. Visual cues of being watched encourage positive behavior. A study conducted by researchers at Newcastle University discovered that displaying images of staring eyes in a cafeteria led to a significant increase in patrons cleaning up after themselves. This phenomenon, rooted in nudge psychology, suggests that subtle cues implying observation can promote pro-social behavior. Why does that matter? When you encourage, it tells someone you're watching. And when people believe they're being watched, everything about them changes. Morally, ethically, exertion, effort, and performance. Even to the point where they just see eyes on a wall in a cafeteria, they're twice as likely to clean up after themselves because now they believe they're being watched. Why? Almost everybody you meet feels invisible. They walk into a room, no one notices them. No one greets them. If they do, they get light, welcome, good to see you, how's your day? If best human beings get flattery, you look great today. I love your smile. That's weak. Encouragement is what we've talked about earlier. It's deeper. Lisa Bevere said this, you've been given the rare opportunity to breathe belief into someone else. Just think about that. Right now, you hold in the power of your hands to any other human being to breathe belief into them, into their soul. My driver did that. Thanks, Frank. Very much, brother. I love you. Number 4, this is science, praised focus on effort encourages a growth mindset. Carol Dweck has great stuff. I love her work. Her research says that praising effort rather than an innate ability fosters a growth mindset. Children who are commended for their hard work are more likely to embrace challenges and persist through difficulties, as opposed to kids who are praised for their talents. You're so smart. You're so pretty. That's hollow. You work so hard. You overcome difficult things so often. I'm so proud of you. You see the distinction? It's right in the psychology. Number 5, encouragement enhances enjoyment and reduces perceived exertion. A study showing sports science students revealed that teacher-provided verbal communication during strength and endurance exercises not only improved performance, but also increased enjoyment and reduced perceived exertion. This underscores the psychological benefits of encouragement and physical activity. All right, last thing on this. Social support improves performance and lowers perceived difficulty. When someone's encouraged, the difficulty of the task in front of them is reduced in their mind. An experimental study found that participants who viewed images of supported individuals while performing a hand grip task exhibited better performance and perceived the task as less difficult compared to those who viewed images of just complete strangers. This demonstrates the effect of perceived social support on performance and effort. So all of this adds up. I said early that encouragement enhances self-efficacy. Here's the concept of self-efficacy. Individuals who are positively persuaded of their abilities are more likely to exert effort and persist in tasks, even when faced with challenges. Encouragement serves as a source of this positive persuasion, thereby enhancing an individual's belief in their capacity to succeed. It's a foundational aspect of being a leader. So why? This show is sponsored by BetterHelp, and I'm really glad that it is. I'm going to tell you why. People ask me all the time, what do all the guests on your show have in common? And it's not all of them, but most of them. They've been to therapy or they're in therapy. And I've had athletes on, business people, thought leaders, musicians, actors, you name it, across the board. Most of the people I know that are happy and successful have been to therapy. Whether you've got something really traumatic you need to work through, maybe you're just not clear and focused right now and you want to talk through some stuff. Maybe something's bugging you. What I love about BetterHelp, it's affordable. And if you don't click with your therapist, you can switch to another one right away. They got 30,000 licensed therapists. With an App Store rating of 4.9 out of 5 from over 1.7 million reviews, it's clear it's helping a lot of people. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/edshow. That's betterhelp.com/edshow. What are the psychological mechanisms? Here we go. Self-esteem and emotion regulation. A study published in Frontier Psychology said that positive parenting behaviors, including encouragement, were linked to higher self-esteem, better emotional regulation in adolescence. Here's what that basically means. Your kids are less likely to act out when you encourage them regularly. Period. Behavioral activation. Research indicates that courage is associated with the behavioral activation system, which is a sensitive area that rewards and motivates individuals to approach positive outcomes. Encouragement can stimulate this system in your brain, therefore promoting courageous behavior by enhancing the motivation to pursue goals despite potential risks. Absolutely. Self-efficacy is a psychological concept that was introduced by Albert Bandura, and here's essentially what it means. Your belief in your ability to succeed in a specific task. Listen close. As a parent, or as a friend, or as a spouse, or significant other, love is entry level. Belief is the big leagues. See, I believe almost all parents show their children love. Most do. Almost all people give one another love in an intimate relationship or in a friendship. Almost nobody transfers belief. When my kids left my house when they were growing up, I said, by the time they're 18, I will have transferred my full belief into them. Not just their abilities or they're pretty or smart, but how they work. Their character, how they treat people, how they listen, what type of a friend they are. When Bella would run out of the house, I say, be a leader. Be a leader, not a follower. Max, you're a gladiator. You're a champion. You're the greatest of all time. Constantly encouraging them. Measure yourself right now as a friend, as a husband, as a wife, as a father, as a mother, as a leader in business. Forget the love part. How good are you at transferring belief? Regularly, consistently, specifically, authentically, as a human being. You want to shift your life? Shift this. Think of it this way. Two people may have the same talent, same training, same opportunity, but one with high self-efficacy is more likely to try in the first place, persevere through setbacks, bounce back after failure, and stay motivated. There's a direct correlation between someone being encouraged and their self-efficacy. This is where, things like encouragement is one of the ways that you help people build self-efficacy. But when you say, I believe in you, you've got what it takes. You're not just making someone feel good. You're giving them the psychological fuel to believe they can succeed, which is the seed of courage. Think of it this way. The ladder and the light. It's a great metaphor. Self-efficacy is like holding a flashlight at the bottom of a tall ladder for someone else. Each rung represents a step towards your goal. If your flashlight, which is self-efficacy, shines only on the first few rungs, you might hesitate. You can't see the top, and fear or doubt sets in. But if that flashlight shines all the way up, you believe, I can climb this. It's possible. It'll be hard, but I've got it. I can see the steps. Now imagine someone standing beside you saying, I've seen you climb before. You're stronger than you think. I've got the light held here. Just take the first step. That's encouragement. Encouragement doesn't build the ladder for you, but it helps you aim your flashlight higher. And that changes everything. So self-efficacy at the end of the day is the inner belief that says, I can do this. And when someone is encouraging you, it's like they're helping you point your flashlight all the way up the ladder. Suddenly the climb isn't so impossible, and it feels worth trying. I want you to be a flashlight in people's lives. And I went out of my way today to tell you that if you wonder maybe why I've had the moderate success that I've had in my life, many of the rich friendships I've had, and why most of the time I've got pretty good self-esteem and self-confidence as someone who grew up with none and struggled with it a lot in his adult life, I can relate it all the way back to something I've talked about with you guys before, which is the power of my intentions. But if you peel that layer back one more and you look a little bit deeper, intentions to do what? My intentions are to be an encourager of people, to believe in people, to love people, but all of the above, not one of the three. I don't want to be a neutral human being. I want to be somebody who changes people's lives in big ways and small ways, whether it's on stage in front of 25,000 people, or a podcast that goes to several million, or if I'm in the back seat and it's my driver and I talking with one another. It's the same formula. Be an encourager. All right, everybody, I hope today helped you. Please share this, okay? If you're not getting the podcast early, get on my email list, edmylett.com. You'll get the podcast before everybody else sees it. God bless you. Max out.